Oh, good morning and happy Saturday. It is January 3rd, 2026. And I'm coming to you with my December wrap up and just talking about my reading goal. I started 2025 with hoping to read 205 books. As December was coming to a close, I was behind by 30 books. Technically 42, but then I read a bunch of manga. And I just kept reading the books. And then I made the decision to change my goal. Literally on the last day, I'm like, okay, I know I won't be able to read 30 books today. Because I had to work. So I changed my goal to 176 books. Well, 175. It seems I read 176. I may have read a book twice. But I was able to complete the goal. I had set for myself to read the last 2 books on my TBR. The last 2 books I was currently in the middle of. And I did that. But I had a really good reading month anyway. I ended up reading 28 books, which is very exciting. I didn't expect to read 28 books. It's been a while since I've read 28 books. Am I going to try it with my January TBR? Yes, but I'm going to start from the bottom and go on the way up. So, the last book on this list that I read happens to be Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. I actually started with Bookshops and Bone Dust as my first book to read by him, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed both of these books. I literally read both of these books in a day. I also listened to this one completely on audiobook, and I started this on audiobook and then I switched to physically reading it, well, reading it on my Kindle, and I enjoyed both of these. And the actual last book I read, the last book that finished my reading goal for 2025 was For Whom the Bell Tolls by J.C. Lynn, and I absolutely loved it. I loved her videos on TikTok, and when she said, oh yeah, I'm writing a book, I was definitely going to pick it up. I did. I absolutely loved it. And yeah, so let's talk about the manga I read. I read 1, 2, 3, 4. I read 5 mangas. I read One Piece Volume 9. I read Black Butler Volume 34. I read Tokyo Revengers Volumes 21 and 22. I read True Beauty Volume 5. And then I read Horime Volume 9. All those 5 mangas I really enjoyed. They're series that I'm in the middle of and continue reading. Yes, I'm current in One Piece, but when I buy the volume to put on my shelf, I reread the volume. I then read Bonds of Hercules by Jasmine Moss. I've been wanting to read it for a while since it came out, but again, TBR, spin a wheel. It happens. I then read, where is it on here? Ruthless Empire by Rina Ket. I absolutely loved it. And then I read the Royal Elite Epilogue. I really enjoyed this series, and now I'm going to go on to her other series because all of her series are interconnected with each other. I read Game Changer by Rachel Reed because Heated Valerie came out on HBO Max. I was so interested. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start reading the books also. And I read Game Changer because I like to read stuff in order of the series. So I read Game Changer, absolutely loved it. I read Mafia and Gold Digger by Isa Oliver. It's one of the other Isa Oliver books I have on my TBR because her books are nice and short but also really good, and I can't put them down. I read Merry Christmas, You Filthy Animal by Megan Quinn, which is the second book in the series. I also reread How My Neighbor Stole Christmas, which is the first book. Guess what? It was December. It was holiday season, and yes. And I loved it, absolutely. I then read The Woman by Kristen Hanna. it's really enjoyable. I know it's historical fiction. I'm getting through it and trying to branch out other authors and other genres that I read besides fantasy and romance. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I read Crossroads by Devin Perry. I read her Indigo Ridge series, and she wrote The Rights of Sparrow. Shields and Sparrow. Rights of Starling is the second book. She wrote Shields of Sparrows, and I just really enjoyed her writing, and I wanted to read Crossroads. It was nice, it was short. I definitely plan to read the second book in the series. I also finally read Taurus Season by Brynne Weaver. She did the Rhaenys Love trilogy, and I really absolutely loved those. So to have read the Taurus Season is exciting, and I'm excited for book 2. I also read The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. I also enjoyed it. It is a debut novel by an author, and I enjoyed it. I also read Mafia and Taken, the other Issa Oliver series. I also read The Mirror Beast by Alexandra Bracken. It's the second book in the Silvered in the Bone series duology that she did, and I absolutely loved it. I also finally read The Once and Future Witches. I've had this book on my TBR for 5 years, and I've probably taken it off, and I'm very excited that it's off my TBR and I've read it, and it's like, yay. I also read Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, and I've just really been enjoying her writing. I've read Mafia and Captive by Issa Oliver, really enjoyed that. I've read Nikolai by Sophie Lark. She's another author that I really enjoy. I read the Keeping 13 is a reread, but I really enjoyed it. The Fallen and The Kiss of Dust I also finished, and I really enjoyed. And I read Fearful by Lauren Roberts, which is the novella, and I also really enjoyed that. And that is all 28 books I read in the month of December, which helped me reach my goal of 176 books. But yeah, I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.